wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Lauren LaRosa filling in for Jess. And let's get in some front page news. Good morning, Morgan.
Good morning. I wish it was a good morning. Unfortunately, we have some bad news to share. Law enforcement is confirming 4 people are dead and at least 9 are in the hospital after an active shooter event at a Georgia high school. So it happened yesterday, Wednesday, at Appalachian High School in Winder, about 50 miles northeast of Atlanta and just west of Athens, Georgia. Now, the suspect is in custody. He's a 14-year-old student, or excuse me, I'm not sure if it's a he, but I believe it's a 14-year-old student at the school. Georgia Bureau of Investigation Director Chris Arce described the incident. Let's hear more from him.
Of those that are deceased, 2 are students and 2 are teachers here at the school. Within minutes, law enforcement was on scene, as well as 2 school resource officers assigned here to the school who immediately encountered the subject within just minutes of this report going out. Once they encountered the subject immediately surrendered to these officers, and he was taken into custody.
That's so damn sad.
It's very sad. We're still dealing with school shootings and a middle school at that. Like, this is crazy. Barrow County Sheriff Judge Smith also said this shooter surrendered to a resource officer inside the school, and he also called the shooting an act of pure evil. Now, the shooting did unfold just as classes got underway. This student was inside when gunfire erupted. Let's hear more from the student witness.
I know my teacher. I know he got shot. I know one of my friends' got shot in the leg. I thought I was gonna die, and I was gonna go to the bathroom right before it happened, and I'm so glad I didn't, because I would probably be dead right now if I did. I heard gunshots, and then my teacher told us to get in the corner, and then they were clearing this. I heard like screaming.
Wow. Isn't that sad that you just think that you can't even get up to use the restroom?
Yeah.
You know,
just out there, a little bit like that's a baby talking about. I thought I was gonna die.
Yeah, it's absolutely sad. So the White House says enough is enough. They're responding, of course, to the shooting when it comes to school shootings. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre addressed reporters yesterday. Let's hear those comments from KJP.
I want to let you know that the president and the vice president have both been briefed, and his administration will continue coordinating with federal, state, and local officials as we receive more information. We cannot allow this to happen in our communities. We cannot allow this to happen in our schools. We need universal background checks. We need ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines, require safe storage of firearms, invest in violence prevention programs, and pass a national red flag law. So we have to do everything that we can to keep our children safe, to keep the people who are supposed to protect our children, who are they supposed to learn from, safe. And enough is enough. Congress needs to act. We're grateful for the brave first responders who are on the scene, and we stand ready to provide support as needed.
I mean, she's right. Listen, I'm 2A all day, right? But I do believe in common sense gun reform. But the reality is you're never going to get any common sense gun reform in this country as long as these senators are taking money from pro-gun lobbyists like the NRA. The NRA has these senators in a chokehold. These pro-gun groups own these senators, and there will never be any real common sense gun reform as long as these senators are owned by these pro-gun groups like the NRA.
But this one, this kid was 14. It was an AR style weapon. So that means he had to get it from, we think, probably his house, right? So that weapon should have been locked up where he couldn't have access to it, so he couldn't get to it. Even if you are 2A all day and you own weapons, you try to make it so your kids can't get to your weapons. They just can't. Like on mine, I have fingerprints on my safe, so my kids can't access any of the gun safes because they can't, their fingerprints won't work. So we just got to find out how this young kid got this AR style weapon, how he was able to take it to school. How it's a lot of questions of how.
It's one thing to get access to it, but then also to know how to operate it, or not necessarily knowing completely knowledgeable, but there should be also locks on it in a sense, like safeties and other things. And that, you know, there
Sure,
should
but also
multiple measures.
who needs to own an AR style weapon? Like, you don't need to own an AR style weapon. That's the whole point of what she was saying when, you know, certain guns need to be banned. Like, that's one of the guns that need to be banned.
And speaking of background checks, I saw the reports that he had been on the FBI's radar in 2023. He had actually been interviewed.
The 14-year-old.
He was 13 at the
Jesus.
time. He had been interviewed because the FBI had received like anonymous tips about some threats he had made online. So they interviewed him a year ago. So people were like,
Dang.
how the heck? Like, there should have been, I don't know, like maybe that, I don't know what that process is, but maybe there should have been some eyes on him, some follow-up, because when you get released from prison,
I mean, if the FBI is interviewing you at 13,
yes,
that's crazy. That means, hey, maybe there shouldn't be any weapons in that house. If they're interviewing at 13.
Well, there definitely shouldn't be no
that's in the New York Times.
No, definitely no ARs.
There definitely shouldn't be no AR style weapons.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we'll talk more about it, and we'll hear what Vice President Kamala Harris had to say on the other side in the next hour. Also, Trump weighed in on the shooting.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Lauren LaRosa is filling in for Jess. And let's get in some front page news. What's up, Morgan?
Yeah, we're still talking about this shooting, the school shooting out of Georgia at Appalachian High School in Barrow County. So the 14-year-old Colt Gray is his name. He will be tried as an adult for allegedly opening fire and killing 4 victims at Appalachian High School in Barrow County. Now, the FBI did confirm, as Lauren mentioned in the last hour, that investigators were called to his home after an online threat with an image of guns were anonymously reported back in May of 2023. Now, the agency says there was no probable cause at the time for an arrest. Vice President Kamala Harris, she's weighing in on the school shooting in Georgia, calling it outrageous that parents have to worry about their children's safety while they're at school. Let's hear more from Vice President Harris.
It's senseless. It is. We've got to stop it. And we have to end this epidemic of gun violence in our country once and for all. You know, it doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way. But our kids are sitting in a classroom where they should be fulfilling their God-given potential, and some part of their big, beautiful brain is concerned about a shooter busting through the door of the classroom.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's very scary. I mean, I got 6 kids, and, 5 of them are still in school. So, I mean, it's very scary. One starts today. She's back in school today. And it makes you, it's nervous. Every time you get a text, every time you see a phone rings and it's the school, the first thing you do is you worry. You know what I mean? And
especially during
talk
school
about
hours.
yes.
Like, what? Yes.
And these are young kids. Like, it's not even like, it's not even like these kids are like 17. These are young 13-year-old kids.
Yep.
So the Democratic presidential nominee, Vice President Kamala Harris, of course, she spoke on the school shooting while holding a campaign event in New Hampshire. She added that gun violence is one of the major issues of this election. Now, meanwhile, former President Trump, he briefly touched on the shooting at the high school in Georgia, and he also questioned the fairness of next week's debate. Trump also addressed statements that he and his running mate, J.D. Vance, were weird or are weird. Let's hear more from former President Trump.
I agreed to do it because they wouldn't do any other network. The other thing is, her best friend is the head of the network. Her husband's best friend is married to the head of the network. And they're going to get the questions. Well, it's a sick and angry world for a lot of reasons. And we're going to make it better. We're going to heal our world. We're going to get rid of all these wars that are starting all over the place because of JD is not weird. He's a solid rock. I happen to be a very solid rock. We're not weird. We're other things, perhaps, but we're not weird.
If you have to say you're not weird, you're probably weird. What network is he talking about?
ABC. So yes, he during a town hall event with Fox News, Trump called ABC News dishonest, and while also saying Vice President Harris would be getting her questions in advance. So the town hall saw
Kamala Harris' best friend is the head of ABC. When that happened?
I'm not privy to that information. So, but I will check that out and get back to you on that one because I'm not privy to that. But the town hall saw Trump stick to most of the same talking points as he has across his campaign events, including immigration, the economy, and tax cuts. Both campaigns have finally agreed to the ground rules set forth by ABC, which will be hosting the debate, which is at this point less than a week away. That'll be next Wednesday. Now, Trump had previously threatened to back out of that debate after Harris's team objected to the rules about muted microphones. Harris's campaign argued she will be fundamentally disadvantaged by the muted microphones because they will serve as a shield to Donald Trump from direct exchanges with the vice president. Now, however, on Wednesday, Harris's team agreed to the despite that, though, her team has agreed to the conditions, saying they don't want to jeopardize the debate. So, so the debate is going on less than a week away, next Wednesday on ABC. That is the September 11th. And
so the microphones will be muted?
Yes, they will be muted.
I don't think they should be muted. I think that they should be open. And the reason I think that they should be open is because the vice president is going to have Trump so frazzled simply because she knows what she's talking about and he doesn't, and he's just going to be lying. So all he's going to be able to do is overtalk her, insult her, try to overpower her, keep the mics open so he can look like a madman. You want him to look insane. He's going to look insane regardless.
I was going to say he's going to have the faces on him regardless.
But keep the mics open. Let him overtalk. Let him insult. Let him overpower so the American people can see that and be like, this is what y'all want.
And they might want that, but I think you mute the mics so that way you can hear what she's saying when she's talking about policies and things that's important. You could actually hear it because if not, like you said, he's going to be going rampant.
Well, let's switch gears to some more positive news. Week 1 of the NFL kicks off tonight. The action kicks off between the defending Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. They begin their quest for a three-peat, something no team in the NFL has ever done. They'll be taking on the Baltimore Ravens, my Ravens, at Arrowhead Stadium at home in Kansas City. Of course, the Ravens finished last season with the top seed after going 13-4, but failed to defend home field after failing to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game.
We're going to bust y'all ass on the 22nd, Morgan.
Okay.
My Dallas Cowboys versus Ravens, 4:25 p.m. September 22nd.
Morgan,
if Delulu was a person.
He says this every year. Now he's going to say that they're going to make it to the Super Bowl and they're going to win the Super Bowl. Go ahead.
You ain't talking about my delusion. Go ahead. But you talk about my delusion all the time. Go ahead.
I'm glad you said it for me.
See?
Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, you're
going
definitely
to the Super Bowl
delusional. I will say this, though. One story that I'm really excited to see is Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin. He's going to be in the starting lineup with his team's season opener against the Arizona Cardinals. You remember he had he suffered cardiac arrest in a Monday Night Football game last year. I believe that was in Ohio. They were playing Cincinnati. I'm sorry, I forget who they were playing. But yes, he suffered a cardiac arrest during that Monday Night Football game last year. And so it'll be cool to see Hamlin get back out on the field and actually get into some football action. So I'm excited about football. It'll be quite the little bit of a silver lining with all of this drama going on. So, Yep. That's your front page news. Follow me on socials at Morgan Media, MorgynMedia. And for more news coverage, make sure you're following at Black Information Network and download the free iHeartRadio app. Visit BINnews.com for more.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.